guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. As most of you know, here recently, there's been an island-wide blackout down in Cuba. I think they've gotten now around 70% of the island restored. There's still over 25% of the island without power. At one point, there were over 10 million people without power down in Cuba. And I went to Google Earth just looking around, as it was hard to fathom the entire island being without power. Once again, over 10 million people, and you can see over here at Vox.com, this is a photo from Cuba, and you can see the lights are definitely out, and you can see a few people congregating out here in the dark streets of Cuba. Anyway, I went down here looking around, and I found some things of interest. I noticed an overall absence of cars. Some of the cars definitely looked old, just like the photos that I've seen from Cuba. Here's a parking lot, and you can tell that these cars right here, you can tell that's an older model car. It's like a big sled. It's what we used to call those back in the day, with the wide front end and the very large trunk. They look square. It's probably a car from the 1970s. You can see some older looking cars here. Not that it's a big deal. It's just an observation that I've noticed with regard to Cuba. And again, I was just trying to look at the power grid to see what I could find. So obviously, as I'm looking around over here, and again, I'm not necessarily looking for anything other than the power grid and maybe some old cars. I went to use the Google Street feature to go down on the street and look around. That feature is unavailable over here in Cuba. I was not aware of that. So anyway, I continued to look around, and it was just hard to imagine that all of these people for an extended period of time were without electricity. So as I was looking around, I ran across this location right here. And again, I wasn't looking for this. I ran across it by complete accident. Something that looked kind of nefarious. Check this out. This is a street in the middle of Havana, Cuba, and it almost looks as if there's something that occurred here. I don't know if somebody maybe got hit by a car. You know what that looks like there in the middle of the street. I was like, whoa, what happened here? I know they've been in the middle of a long duration power outage. I don't think this photo is necessarily from during the power outage. In fact, looking at the photo, it says 7/27 of 2024, so it's not that old. But again, the street feature is not available. I couldn't go down to the street and look around and see what happened here. But I don't know if someone was hit by a car, if that's some sort of a large animal. I found this highly unusual, and it's the only location I ran across down here while I was looking around that showed a big red, what looks like a big red puddle in the road. So I zoomed in as close as I could without becoming too overly pixelated. Ominous discovery on Google Earth. I put together this little slideshow of the location. I zoomed in, and then I took some screen grabs of the location, adjusted the lighting and color. I was trying to pull forward whatever this feature is that appears to be laying in this large pool of what looks like something very red in the road. You can see that right there. I zoomed in on it. Here in just a second, you're going to see this in different formats. I adjusted the lighting and color, trying to make sense out of this thing. It just looks very ominous, almost as if someone maybe got hit by a car or something else happened there that showed up in this satellite image. And here are a few slightly modified versions of this location, once again in the streets of Havana, Cuba. I adjusted the color and lighting, and that definitely looks like something happened right there, and the satellite happened to notice it. Check that out. Is that a body, large animal laying there in the street? You can see the liquid, whatever it may have been, pooled over here, ran this direction. In a photo I'm going to share with you here in just a second, you're going to see some of it's up here on the sidewalk. I know, you can't make this stuff up. I ran across this by sheer accident. Notice up here on the sidewalk. See how there's some of it up on the sidewalk? You can see a little bit of residue up here. You can see it appears to be thicker right here, like it's pooled here, ran this direction, and then up against the sidewalk. I don't know. It looks like something diabolical could have occurred there in the streets of Havana. Once again, this photo goes back to July 7th of 2024. And the coordinates for this location are right here in case you're interested: 230533 north, 8221 14 west. And in yesterday's video, I mentioned the large X-class solar flare that sent a huge CME towards the Earth. Here's a look at the CME right here at the Soho LASCO C3. It'll be coming up here in just a couple of seconds. Right there's the big CME. Notice the comet diving towards the sun right now as I do this video. Here's that anomaly that we discovered about 3 days ago, still sitting here, whatever it may be. You can see that straight edge right there. That's highly unusual for this instrument. This monitors the sun 24/7, has since 1998. Again, this is the Soho LASCO C3. It shows us solar flare activity, CMEs that are possibly headed towards the Earth. It shows us comets from time to time, and once again, there's a comet headed towards the sun. Energy right there headed towards the Earth. Here's what the polar regions of the Earth look like right now according to the ionosphere D region instrument. The polar regions of the Earth are overwhelmed with energy right now. And coming over here to the Space Weather Prediction Center, you can see the D regions of the ionosphere, that would be the north and south poles, are still overwhelmed with energy from that huge X-flare that sent a massive CME in the direction of the Earth. Look for solar activity to continue to increase as the Earth-facing side of the sun has no shortage of sunspots and active regions. And it looks like, if we look up here in the upper northeastern quadrant of the sun, look at that. There is a huge sunspot back here about to reveal itself in the next 24 hours, turning towards the Earth, joining this very large cluster of very active sunspots that have already produced 2 long-duration X-class solar flares, hurling energy towards the Earth and causing the D region of the ionosphere to be overwhelmed with energy. So look for an upcoming geomagnetic storm here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Once again, an ominous discovery shows up on Google Earth down in Havana, Cuba. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.